master's degree work, I did a lot of research into wind energy and wind turbine wakes, so the improvement of how to site wind turbines in a farm. And currently I'm working on projects for the steel industry, mainly working on blast furnace optimization and design and research.
It's called transdirect current stimulation. Basically what we do is we apply a 1.2 milliamp current to the left prefrontal lateral dorsal part of the brain, trying to basically stimulate that part of the brain to memorize more, basically just like a stimulation to the brain. We did was we had 14 participants, 7 with the current being applied and 7 without the current being applied. And we taught Americans Chinese, basically.
I've always wanted to go to Africa, so I said this is an opportunity of a lifetime to go. So as I was going through that process, I was thinking of, how can I, what can I do that will make a mark in this trip? And so just the opportunity to do a research project that could possibly go towards helping the situation there generated me to want to do the research.
I developed a conceptual model for corporations to facilitate an ethical climate. It sort of deviates away from traditional approaches because usually you see models that are given to guide the decision-making process so that way you can make an ethical decision, so to speak. But mine, on the other hand, focused on the character of the individual and, as that person, what can, the corporation as well as other environments do to mold that person to naturally behave ethically.
We do research based on our own interest and also the significance of that research. So when we have that, usually we like a student, we are also motivated for those kind of research. We are really interested in it. We would like to spend time and energy and all sorts of things on it. And we also look for good students to work together.
Dr. Chen, basically I had him as a teacher, a professor in one of my classes freshman year, and he kind of asked me if I'd be interested in doing it. And I said, yeah, definitely. There was a graduate student working on a similar thing that I'm doing right now. And he said, you guys would partner up, you would be good together for a thesis. So I said, okay, that's fine.
I think I was a junior, so it's been like 6 or 7 years now, maybe. It's been a long time. So, and I didn't really start doing research under her until 2010, 2011-ish. And so I'd known her for quite a few years before that. And so it wasn't so much, oh, it's nervous doing work under the world-renowned scholar. It's Professor Zhou.
While being a student for honors, I have done research with several of my teachers, and so it sort of prepared me a little bit more for this current project that I just finished. As far as choosing him for my mentor, my big thing was I had an idea of what I wanted when I started, but it wasn't very clear. It could have went a lot of different ways. And so after talking to a few people and John telling me that he thinks he might be able to help, we talked a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is great. I need to do this, because he knows how to ask the right sorts of questions to bring out what I need to come out.
When you do research, think of it of how your research will impact the world, not necessarily how it will improve your life, but how it will impact the world. How is what you're doing further human development and improve somebody else's future as well? So.
I actually is definitely an outstanding student. Even when he before he was involved in service, he stands out among his peers because although he's very young in terms of age-wise, but he's quite mature, very independent, and self-motivated. And also has this curiosity on the problems. Those are the good quality to be a good researcher.
Over the years, I've seen so many different students with great potential, but Shalisa just spoke to trying to sort of figure out what direction to go with her research. And to my mind, that's one of the great challenges that undergraduate students in particular have, because identifying the problem and then after that, identifying the particular methodology to be used, what direction you want to go in trying to address that problem, that's a big part of it.
We want it to be the whole U.S. population from all sectors getting an understanding about the nature of the world. So that had a lot to do also with the focus on Jonathan, who I think has emerged as a very serious scholar and an activist. And you know, with respect to the research, I don't see how he sleeps, to be honest. But when you're highly motivated to do something, you have the energy to do it.
When I was in undergrad and I had first come to Purdue Cal, I met a professor. His name was Yao Xiao, and I'd really enjoyed his classes, and so I applied for I believe it was a grant for undergraduate research, and I had kind of set up a rapport with Professor Xiao, and we talked together often about what would be good for a project. And so that's kind of my starting point, and I feel like it works really well. Just finding someone that's willing to mentor you, willing to encourage you, and finding something that you have in common that you can then kind of build off of. And so I think that's probably, in my opinion, one of the best places to start, just having someone you can collaborate with on a project to get you going. And then once you have a couple under your belt, it starts getting easier and easier.
When I was being interviewed for internships, stuff like that, the research is a great segue. I would say to the recruiters, how would you like to be smarter? How would you like to have a better retention and memory? And they'd remember me. Some people actually, I met some of the recruiters later on, they remembered me as the brainier or something like that. It can basically make yourself more attractive to future employees.
I think anybody that can come in and have something new to offer to any corporation, business, industry, whatever the case may be, it sort of sets them apart, to be able to have that upper hand. So.
If you have your eye on your goal, you understand that all these things feed in together. And if you're focused on it and highly motivated, you can accomplish anything, and from any kind of background, socioeconomic background, racial, ethnic background, class background, if you really have a desire to, and you can't let people tell you that somehow you're not capable of doing that, because genius isn't something that just pops up inside of people. It comes from experience.